Hi friends. Today we embark on another captivating journey into the shadowy world of true crime stories. Get ready to investigate, discover, and reveal the secrets of a dark and dramatic case. Are you prepared to dive into this thrilling investigation? Let's begin now. On Tuesday evening, April 10, 2012, it began to rain heavily on the campus of the University of Southern California. Yang Wu, a 23-year-old student, was completing an electrical experiment with her classmates in the engineering building. After finishing at midnight, the group decided to go home to rest to prepare for the next busy day. The next morning, at 10:30, Ying Wu planned to welcome a group of international students from China and guide them around the campus with her enthusiasm. Normally, Ying Wu and her boyfriend Ming would bike back to their off-campus apartment, just 1.4 miles from the University of Southern California. However, tonight, due to heavy rain, they could not ride their bicycles. Luckily, Ming had prepared everything to welcome her. After studying in the library until midnight, he drove his newly purchased used Beam to take her back to their apartment. When they almost got home, the street near the apartment was filled with cars due to heavy rain. Ming turned on his hazard lights and temporarily parked his car parallel to other cars. As they were saying goodbye to each other in the car and Ying Wu was about to get out, two black men wearing hoodies suddenly appeared on both sides of the car. What's more terrifying is that they were armed and pointed guns at the couple, ordering them to leave. Before Ying Wu and Ming could react, gunshots rang out and a bloody massacre occurred. This tragic story takes place at the University of Southern California, a famous private university in Los Angeles with highly ranked schools such as cinematic arts, business, public policy, and engineering. The University of Southern California has produced 5 Nobel Prize winners and many other notable alumni. This is also the private university with the largest number of international students in the United States, with more than 8,000 international students out of a total of more than 40,000 students, of which more than 3,000 students are from China. Ying Wu and Ming the main characters of the story, are two of them. Ying Wu, born in 1988 in Hunan Province, China. She is an only child. Her mother is a retired employee of Shanghai Cotton Company and her father was a soldier, then became a police officer in 1999. Although her family's finances were not well off, thanks to her excellent academic performance, Ying Wu received an admission letter to the University of Southern California's master's program. Her parents borrowed money from relatives and friends to cover tuition for her to study in the U.S. Ying Wu's boyfriend Ming is from Gala, Northeast China, and is also an only child. With a height of 1m8, Ming not only excels in piano but also practices taekwondo. However, he suffered from a congenital heart disease as a child, which prevented him from drinking alcohol or participating in strenuous activities. His excellent academic performance helped him be admitted to Beihang University, Beijing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics, with the highest scores. Perhaps fate brought them together when they both received acceptance letters from the University of Southern California at the end of 2011 and enrolled in the electrical engineering program on the same day. Although fate brought them together, it was not until March 2012 that Ying Wu and Ming officially transformed from classmates into a couple. Ying Wu has a great personality, is always smiling, and no matter how much she gets teased, she just smiles and jokes. Being with her always brings joy to others. Ying Wu cares a lot about her friends, studies hard, and often stays up late to complete her homework. Last month, she stayed up all night to prepare for the exam. Despite her busy schedule, she still cooked a meal for her boyfriend, which made him extremely emotional. 10 days before the incident, Ying Wu told her parents for the first time that she was bringing a friend home after graduation. This was the first time her family knew she had a boyfriend. 3 days before the incident, on April 8th, Ying happily announced to her family that she would graduate next month and had bought a plane ticket to return home in May, introducing her boyfriend to her family. Ming's parents were also informed that he had a girlfriend. This was Ming's first relationship, and his parents were overjoyed, losing sleep for 3 nights in eager anticipation of meeting their future daughter-in-law. But an unexpected tragedy destroyed all happiness of both families in an instant. At 12:55 a.m., on April 11, 2012, police received a call reporting gunshots and broken glass near the University of Southern California. When they arrived at the scene, they discovered Ying, 23 years old, sitting in the passenger seat, leaning forward and not breathing. Paramedics determined she had been shot twice, once in the right arm and a fatal shot in the chest. Her boyfriend, Ming, tried to run back to their rented apartment to seek help, but he passed out before the police arrived. He was shot behind his left ear, with the bullet entering the back of his brain, causing a serious brain hemorrhage. Although an ambulance quickly transported them both to Los Angeles Hospital, their injuries were too severe and they were pronounced dead soon after. Because it was still raining heavily at the time of the incident, collecting evidence at the scene was difficult. The vehicle's windows were shattered with a 9mm bullet lodged in the passenger seat, and another bullet lodged inside the passenger door. In addition, on the road next to the driver's seat, police discovered 2 spent 9mm bullet casings. After analysis, police concluded that the perpetrator opened fire from outside the car near the driver's seat. However, no fingerprints or DNA of the suspect was found at the scene. Ying and Ming's cell phones were stolen. When questioning neighbors around the crime scene, police discovered that no household had security cameras installed. A neighbor named Yuri said he called 911 after hearing gunshots. Looking out the second-floor window, Yuri saw a beam parked in the middle of the street and 2 black men standing on both sides of the car, exchanging a few words before quickly leaving the scene. However, they were both wearing hooded sweatshirts and the street lights were dim, so he couldn't see their faces clearly. The deaths of Ying and Ming prompted the student community at the University of Southern California to hold a candlelight vigil on campus. Many people shared their feelings, turning the vigil into a nightmare with many crime warnings. 2 days after the incident, on April 13th, the Los Angeles Police Department held a press conference at the crime scene in heavy rain. During the press conference, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Southern California announced that the school is offering a reward of $125,000 for any useful information that can lead to the resolution of the case. The deputy police chief said they have not yet determined the gender of the perpetrator and hope the public can provide more information as soon as possible. On April 11th, police identified a suspect. While the memorial service was taking place at the University of Southern California, the Los Angeles Police Department was extremely busy. Detective Phillips from the homicide unit received a call from the forensic laboratory reporting that, by comparing bullets, they had determined that bullets found at the scene matched bullets from 2 previously unsolved cases. The first incident occurred on December 3rd, 2011, when a 20-year-old student was shot at a party in South Los Angeles. The second incident occurred on February 12, 2012 at the Galen Center Banquet Hall near Ernina 51, a popular venue for local weddings and parties. On that day, the hall was rented out for a lavish birthday party with over 100 guests, lasting from evening until midnight. When the party ended, a 21-year-old man named Deance Devance and his friend Zane Flowers were heading towards the exit. As they approached the door, they encountered a group of black people who had just arrived at the party, clearly under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and were in a state of high excitement, raising their arms and chanting gang name 8 Trees. One of them bumped into Zane Flowers without even apologizing, causing Deance Devance to start arguing with that person. The argument quickly escalated into a large fight. During the chaos, the black man pulled out a gun and fired 2 shots. One bullet entered D'Ince Devance's stomach, and the other entered the back of D'Ince Devance's head, exiting through his left eye. Miraculously, D'Ince Devance retained his sight, but the wound to his abdomen was still serious. On April 11th, after Ying and Ming were murdered, police discovered bullet casings found at the scene matched bullet casings from a birthday party 2 months earlier. This suggests that the perpetrators may be the same person, or at least from the same group. A thorough investigation into the birthday party revealed many more important clues. The day after the incident on February 13th, a friend of D'Ince Devance who was at the scene told police he knew who the shooter was. He asked around and learned the perpetrator's nickname, then searched online and discovered a photo of the suspect on Facebook. Thanks to this clue, investigators immediately contacted D'Ince Devance's friend at 9:30 p.m. on April 11th. This witness went to the police station and identified one of the thugs present at the birthday party as Bryan Barnes, one of the main suspects in the case. Barnes was born on May 10, 1992, and at the time of the incident was not only a notorious gangster in the neighborhood but also a young father whose daughter was born the same year. After confirming Barnes' involvement in the case, police obtained a search warrant for his Facebook account. Through a detailed investigation of Barnes' Facebook, police discovered that his most frequent contact was Javier Bolden, born on August 29, 1992. Together, Barnes and Bolden posted many updates about underground parties and gang-related activities. In one post, Barnes wrote, "No disrespect, Inc. We are a family. If you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." The police investigation revealed that many of the people attending these parties were affiliated with local gangs. However, Barnes and Bolden were not actually members of any gang but simply used gang affiliations to intimidate others. Because Ying and Ming's phones were taken at the scene, the police tried to trace the signals from these devices. While Ming's phone remained turned off and could not be tracked, Ying's phone signal appeared near Barnes' residence. At this time, the police did not rush to take action but instead tapped Barnes' phone to collect more evidence. Over the next month, the wiretaps provided crucial evidence. Although Barnes did not explicitly mention April 11th in the calls, he did use several key phrases that directly related to the case. For example, he told Bolden that he remembered the night they ran into those 2 little Asians and that he intended to give the phone he stole from the girl to Bolden for his birthday, but didn't. Couldn't unlock it, so he sold it to a phone store for $230. Further investigation included questioning Barnes' ex-girlfriend, who admitted to police that Barnes had once told her that he had stolen a phone and may have shot 2 people in the process. Cell tower evidence also showed that in the early hours of April 11th, Barnes and Bolden's phone signals appeared near the scene of the crime. Furthermore, at 1:09 a.m., there was a call from Ying's phone, showing that her phone's location matched Barnes' whereabouts after she was murdered. Combined with the ex-girlfriend's testimony and bullet casings found at the scene, police believe that Barnes and Bolden are the main suspects. A month after the incident, on May 18th, the 2 were arrested and faced police questioning. Under pressure, Bolden finally confessed that on the day of the crime, he, Barnes, and Barnes' nephew, Terrell, went to the University of Southern California to target the robbery. After discovering Ying and Ming, Barnes and Bolden quietly got out of the car with guns while Terrell stayed in the car to keep watch. Bolden maintained that he did not fire the gun, but Barnes approached the driver's side with a weapon and ordered the occupants out of the car. Before the couple could react, Barnes suddenly opened fire on them. Initially, they planned to drive away in the Beam, but because they saw a neighbor witnessing the shooting, they panicked and abandoned that plan. Barnes only grabbed 2 phones from the car, and all 3 quickly left the scene. While awaiting trial, Bolden boasted to a fellow prisoner that he and a friend had robbed and shot dead 2 graduate students near the University of Southern California. This inmate was actually an undercover police officer, and the entire conversation was recorded. Despite being charged with first-degree murder, the Barnes and Bolden families actively campaigned locally and on Facebook, claiming that police had no evidence to prove their children committed murder. The Chinese community at the University of Southern California has not remained silent on the issue. The Chinese Students and Scholars Association at USC launched a petition campaign, collecting more than 7,000 signatures and hiring lawyers to demand that the police severely punish the criminals. On February 25, 2014, Barnes finally accepted a plea deal with police in exchange for not seeking the death penalty. At the final trial, Ying Wu's mother cried quietly while her father asked the judge to impose the harshest punishment on Barnes. He said that his daughter was about to complete her studies and was about to return home with a plane ticket after 2 years away, but she was brutally murdered. On the last day of the trial, Ying Wu's father died, spoke before the court with great sadness. He said that Barnes not only took away the dreams and life of Ying Wu, his only daughter, but also crushed the hopes and dreams of the entire family. These words made everyone in the courtroom silent and deeply moved. Yet throughout the trial, Barnes remained contemptuous and indifferent. Ultimately, the judge sentenced Barnes to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole as part of the plea agreement. Barnes also lost his right to appeal. Meanwhile, Bolden, despite confessing to investigators during questioning, pleaded not guilty in court. In October 2014, Bolden's trial began. Bolden's lawyer stated that his client did not fire the gun and did not take the victim's phone, but only accompanied Barnes to the scene. Regarding Bolden's confession to police, the lawyer argued that the act was carried out under the threat of the death penalty, forcing him to fabricate a story about the robbery and murder with Barnes. As for the recorded conversation in prison, the lawyer claimed that Bolden only bragged to avoid being bullied in prison and that all of his statements were made up. Bolden's mother was thrown out of the courtroom by the judge for repeatedly interrupting the proceedings and insisting her son was innocent. She praised her son as a good man who attends community college and works full-time at a food-for-less supermarket. After being kicked out of the courtroom, Ms. Lashana tearfully spoke to the press in the bathroom. She said that murderers have no heart and they don't cry. But her son cried and broke down, which reinforced her belief that her son did not kill anyone. The jury unanimously concluded that although Bolden did not fire the gun, under California's felony murder statute, when one person in a group commits a crime, all members of the group are responsible. Therefore, the jury found Bolden guilty of first-degree murder. During the sentencing, Bolden remained indifferent and occasionally smiled. The judge reprimanded Bolden for his lack of remorse, stating that in the previous jury's verdict, Bolden had made a particularly gangly gesture, in which he not only showed no remorse but also committed suicide, proud of his crimes. The judge sentenced Bolden to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This is a shocking case even in a city like Los Angeles. From Bolden's mother's reaction, it can be seen that family and social issues contributed significantly to the criminal's behavior. According to an investigation by the Los Angeles Times, Bolden was placed in foster care while in high school, suggesting that his parents may have had significant problems. While in foster care, Bolden was charged with theft and placed under the supervision of the Juvenile Probation Department. Despite a period of good behavior and a stable job, after moving in with a social worker, Bolden was given complete freedom without any supervision or educational guidance. This led to the tragic harm he caused to Ying Wu and Ming. As for Barnes, he never met his father, who spent a long time in prison. This case highlights the need for effective support and supervision systems for disadvantaged youth, as well as the responsibility of communities and families to prevent crime at its source. In this case, a notable detail is that Barnes' biological father first saw his son through a curtain in prison. After being detained, Barnes lived quite comfortably, occasionally smoking, singing and dancing to music. Notably, the role of the U.S. police also needs to be discussed. During the investigation of the February 12th birthday party, police had the opportunity to arrest Barnes and Bolden because a witness that day informed police that they saw pictures of the suspect on Facebook. If the police follow this lead, arresting Barnes and Bolden will not be too difficult. This detail was first discovered by Catherine Green, a student journalist at the University of Southern California. Los Angeles police responded to the journalist's question on this issue. The deputy director and person in charge of the case at the time stated that if he had handled the birthday party investigation, he might have acted differently. However, the official also said police have not completely given up investigating the February party shooting. Instead, Los Angeles is dealing with a large number of shootings at the same time. According to statistics, his team had to handle more than 260 shooting cases in February, each requiring quick action to gather information, leading to the case being shelved due to workload overload. The University of Southern California has made significant efforts to increase security, but these measures are only temporary solutions. In addition, people's awareness of safety needs to be improved. Hardworking students often study until midnight and should seek campus security if possible, even if home is close by and they do not want to inconvenience others. Safety and life are the most important things they must consider. The profit-driven media in China sensationalized the story with headlines such as "BM, a man and a woman," and 1 a.m., deliberately misleading the reader implies that the victims were out partying late when the incident occurred. Classmates of Ying and Ming testified that their lives in America were difficult, but they remained dedicated to their studies. A particularly poignant event occurred on the 9th day after the crime, April 20th, 2012. At the farewell ceremony, parents held a wedding for their deceased children. They gave wedding rings to Ming and Ying Wu, who were in coffins, with the hope that the young couple could be together in heaven. This is a not uncommon tradition in China and concludes the final chapter of this heartbreaking story. What do you think about this case? Please leave a comment below to share your views. Don't forget to press the like button to support the channel and subscribe so you don't miss our latest videos. Thank you and see you next time.